In the vast expanse of space, where countless stars twinkled like distant beacons, humanity had long wondered if they were alone. The answer came on a crisp autumn morning, as an enormous alien vessel appeared in Earth's orbit, its sleek design unlike anything ever seen before. Dr. Olivia Reeves, a brilliant astrophysicist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, was among the first to detect the anomaly. Her heart raced as she analyzed the data streaming across her monitors. "This is it," she whispered, her voice trembling with excitement and trepidation. "We're not alone." As news of the alien arrival spread, the world held its collective breath. Governments scrambled to formulate responses, while civilians alternated between panic and wonder. In New York City, Jack Donovan, a seasoned war correspondent, found himself in the midst of the century's biggest story. He watched as people flooded the streets, their eyes fixed on the sky where the alien ship loomed like a metallic moon. "It's the dawn of a new era," Jack muttered, scribbling furiously in his notebook. Little did he know how prophetic his words would prove to be. Aboard the alien vessel, Fleet Commander ZYX of the Galactic Hegemony surveyed the blue planet below with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. The Hegemony had encountered countless civilizations in their expansion across the stars, but none quite like this. Earth, with its chaotic mix of cultures and technologies, presented an intriguing puzzle. "Prepare the envoy," ZYX ordered, his multifaceted eyes gleaming. "Let us see what these humans are capable of." As the alien shuttle descended towards the United Nations headquarters in New York, world leaders gathered to greet Earth's first extraterrestrial visitors. Among them was Dr. Amelia Cho, a renowned linguist and xenobiologist, chosen to lead the communication efforts with the aliens. The shuttle touched down amidst a sea of flashing cameras and hushed whispers. As the door opened, revealing the towering, insectoid forms of the aliens, Dr. Cho stepped forward, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "Welcome to Earth," she said, extending her hand in a gesture of peace. Fleet Commander ZYX emerged, towering over the assembled humans. His mandibles clicked as he spoke, the words translated through an advanced device. "We come seeking resources and knowledge. Your planet has been deemed suitable for integration into the galactic hegemony." A murmur of confusion rippled through the crowd. Dr. Cho's brow furrowed as she processed the alien's words. "Integration?" she asked, carefully. "I'm afraid I don't understand. We welcome peaceful exchange, but our planet is not for taking." ZYX's antennae twitched in what might have been amusement. "You misunderstand, human. This is not a request. The hegemony has spoken." As tension filled the air, Jack Donovan pushed his way to the front of the press corps. "And what if we refuse?" he called out, his journalistic instincts overriding caution. The alien commander turned his gaze to Jack, his compound eyes reflecting the reporter's image. "Refusal is not an option. Resistance would be unfortunate." In that moment, the true nature of the alien visit became clear. This was not a peaceful first contact, but the opening move in a game of cosmic conquest. As the aliens returned to their shuttle, leaving behind a stunned and frightened populace, world leaders hurried into emergency sessions. In the White House Situation Room, President Evelyn Marsh faced the greatest crisis in human history. "We need options," she demanded, her voice tight with tension. "I will not surrender our planet without a fight." General Marcus Steele, a decorated veteran with a reputation for unconventional tactics, stepped forward. "Madam President, conventional warfare won't cut it against their technology. We need to think outside the box." As discussions of Earth's defense raged on, Dr. Olivia Reeves found herself summoned to a top-secret facility deep in the Nevada desert. There, she met Dr. Rajesh Patel, a brilliant but eccentric engineer known for his groundbreaking work in experimental physics. "Dr. Reeves," Patel greeted her, his eyes gleaming with excitement despite the dire circumstances. "I believe we may have a way to level the playing field." As Patel led her through a labyrinth of high-tech laboratories, Olivia's mind raced with possibilities. What could possibly give humanity a chance against such an advanced alien force? Meanwhile, aboard the alien mothership, Fleet Commander ZYX prepared his invasion force. "These humans are primitive," he declared to his officers. "They will fall quickly, and their resources will fuel our expansion for centuries to come." But as the aliens plotted their conquest, they failed to account for humanity's greatest strength, the indomitable spirit that had carried the species from caves to the cusp of the stars. In cities and towns across the globe, people began to rally. Differences of nation, culture, and creed faded in the face of a common threat. Humanity, for perhaps the first time in its tumultuous history, stood united. As the sun set on that fateful day, Earth teetered on the brink of a war unlike any it had ever faced. The aliens' technological superiority was overwhelming, but humanity's resolve was unshakable. In laboratories, military bases, and homes around the world, plans were being made, innovations conceived, and courage mustered. The stage was set for a conflict that would determine the fate not just of Earth, but of humanity's place in the cosmos. As night fell, billions of eyes turned to the stars, no longer seeing distant points of light, but a battlefield where the very future of their species would be decided. Little did the galactic hegemony know, they had gravely underestimated the tenacity, creativity, and sheer determination of the human race. The tables were about to turn, and the cosmos would never be the same again. As news of the alien arrival spread across the globe, humanity's initial awe and excitement quickly gave way to a growing sense of unease. The galactic hegemony's intentions became clear: Earth was not to be welcomed as an equal, but subjugated as a resource-rich world ripe for exploitation. World leaders scrambled to formulate a response to this unprecedented threat. In Washington, D.C., President Evelyn Marsh convened an emergency meeting of her top advisors. The atmosphere in the Situation Room was tense as military generals, scientists, and diplomats debated the best course of action. "We can't possibly match their technology," General Marcus Steele argued, his voice gruff with frustration. "A direct confrontation would be suicide." Dr. Olivia Reeves, the astrophysicist who first detected the alien arrival, spoke up. "But we can't just roll over and surrender. There must be something we can do." As the debate raged on, a young intelligence analyst named Thomas Chen quietly raised his hand. When the president nodded for him to speak, he cleared his throat nervously. "What if we use their overconfidence against them?" All eyes turned to Thomas as he explained his idea. "The aliens clearly think we're primitive and helpless. What if we let them believe that while secretly preparing our defenses?" President Marsh leaned forward, intrigued. "Go on, Mr. Chen." Thomas's plan was audacious but brilliant. Earth would appear to comply with the galactic hegemony's demands while covertly mobilizing its resources and seeking out the aliens' weaknesses. It was a dangerous gamble, but it might be humanity's only chance. As the plan was set in motion, activity across the globe intensified. In secret underground facilities, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to reverse engineer alien technology from the scant data available. Military forces conducted clandestine drills, preparing for a conflict unlike any in human history. Meanwhile, on the surface, life seemed to continue as normal. Governments publicly announced their cooperation with the alien overlords, all while encrypted messages flew back and forth, coordinating the resistance. Fleet Commander ZYX, observing from his orbiting flagship, was pleased with humanity's apparent submission. "See how easily they bend to our will," he gloated to his subordinates. "This world will be ours without a single shot fired." Little did he know that beneath the facade of compliance, Earth was a hive of activity. In a hidden laboratory deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Rajesh Patel made a breakthrough that would change the course of the conflict. "Eureka!" he shouted, startling his fellow researchers. "I've cracked their shield frequency." The discovery was a game-changer. With this knowledge, Earth's weapons might stand a chance against the aliens' seemingly impenetrable defenses. As weeks turned into months, tensions continued to rise. The galactic hegemony began to establish outposts on Earth, ostensibly to oversee the planet's integration into their empire. In reality, these bases became prime targets for human intelligence gathering. Jack Donovan, the war correspondent who had witnessed the aliens' arrival, now found himself recruited into a dangerous new role. Using his press credentials as cover, he infiltrated alien facilities, gathering crucial information on their operations and weaknesses. During one such mission, Jack overheard a conversation that chilled him to the bone. The aliens were planning to begin mass deportations of humans to work as slave labor on distant worlds. The timetable for Earth's subjugation was accelerating. Racing against time, Jack relayed the information to Resistance headquarters. President Marsh and her advisors realized that they could wait no longer. The time had come to reveal humanity's true intentions. In a globally broadcast address, President Marsh declared Earth's defiance of the galactic hegemony. "We will not bow to tyranny," she proclaimed, her voice steady and resolute. "We choose freedom, and we will fight for it with every fiber of our being." As she spoke, carefully hidden weapons platforms around the world powered up, targeting the alien outposts. The element of surprise was total. Within hours, most of the hegemony's ground-based facilities lay in ruins. Fleet Commander ZYX, caught completely off guard, could only watch in disbelief as his carefully laid plans crumbled. "Impossible," he sputtered, mandibles clicking in agitation. "How could these primitives have deceived us so thoroughly?" The answer, of course, lay in the very trait the aliens had dismissed: humanity's ingenuity and determination. Where the galactic hegemony saw only a backward species ripe for conquest, they should have recognized a tenacious, creative race that would stop at nothing to defend its home. As Earth's hidden fleets rose to engage the orbiting alien armada, the true battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The galactic hegemony had gravely underestimated their opponent, and now they would face the consequences of their arrogance. The skies above Earth lit up with the flashes of energy weapons and explosions, marking the start of a conflict that would determine the fate of not just one world, but potentially the entire galaxy. Humanity, long thought to be alone in the universe, was about to show the cosmos what it was truly capable of. The Zoral fleet loomed ominously in the inky blackness of space, their ships casting long shadows across the solar system. Earth's defenders, a ragtag collection of hastily retrofitted vessels and experimental craft, stood as the last line of defense against the alien invaders. The fate of humanity hung in the balance as the two forces faced off in the cold vacuum of space. Admiral Jenna Hawkins, a seasoned veteran with nerves of steel, stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, Earth's flagship. Her eyes scanned the tactical displays, assessing the overwhelming odds they faced. "This is it, people," she announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Everything we've fought for comes down to this moment. Let's show these aliens what humanity is made of." As if on cue, the Zoral fleet surged forward, their energy weapons lighting up the darkness. The human fleet responded in kind, unleashing a barrage of missiles and energy beams. The battle for Sol had begun. The initial clash was brutal, with both sides taking heavy losses. Human ships, though outgunned and outmatched in technology, fought with a ferocity that caught the Zoral off guard. Captain Ravi Singh, piloting the agile corvette Thunderbolt, led a daring attack run on one of the Zoral's massive dreadnoughts. "Now," he shouted to his gunner as they weaved through a hail of enemy fire. The Thunderbolt's experimental plasma cannon roared to life, its beam cutting through the dreadnought's shields and hull like a hot knife through butter. On Earth's surface, billions watched the battle unfold through live feeds and holographic projections. Among them was Dr. Eliza Chen, the brilliant scientist whose reverse-engineered alien tech had given humanity a fighting chance. She sat in mission control, her fingers flying over holographic interfaces as she coordinated with the fleet. "Admiral," she called out, "we've detected a weakness in their shield harmonics. Transmitting data now." As the information reached the fleet, a new wave of hope surged through the human forces. Ships adjusted their weapons, targeting the weak points in the Zoral defenses. Slowly but surely, the tide of battle began to turn. In the midst of the chaos, a small team of elite soldiers led by Major Derek Wolfe prepared for a daring mission. Their objective: to board the Zoral command ship and disable its main weapons array. As their stealth shuttle approached the massive alien vessel, Wolfe turned to his team. "Remember your training," he said, his voice grim but determined. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for the right of every species to be free from tyranny." The boarding action was a bloodbath, with human and Zoral forces engaged in close-quarters combat through the alien ship's winding corridors. Private First Class Zoe Martinez, the team's tech specialist, fought her way to the ship's central computer core. With sweat beading on her brow and alien blood staining her armor, she began the delicate process of hacking the Zoral systems. Back in space, the battle raged on. Admiral Hawkins orchestrated a brilliant maneuver, using Earth's moon as cover to flank the Zoral fleet. "All ships, execute Operation Slingshot," she commanded. The human fleet emerged from behind the moon, catching the Zoral in a devastating crossfire. As the Zoral command ship's weapons went offline, thanks to Major Wolfe's team, confusion spread through the alien ranks. For the first time since the invasion began, the Zoral showed signs of hesitation and fear. Seizing the moment, Admiral Hawkins ordered a full assault. "This is our chance," she declared. "For Earth, for humanity, for freedom, attack." The human fleet surged forward, their weapons blazing. Ship after ship of the once mighty Zoral armada fell to the combined might of Earth's defenders. As the last Zoral vessel turned to flee, a cheer went up across the human fleet and on Earth below. The battle for Sol was over. Against all odds, humanity had prevailed. In the aftermath, as the adrenaline of victory faded, the true cost of the battle became clear. The space around Earth was littered with debris from both human and Zoral ships. Countless lives had been lost, but Earth stood free. Admiral Hawkins stood before the United Earth Council, her uniform still bearing the scorch marks from the battle. "We've won a great victory," she said solemnly, "but our war is far from over. The Zoral will return, and we must be ready. But more than that, we must reach out to other species who suffer under Zoral oppression. Today, we fought for Earth. Tomorrow, we fight for the galaxy." As news of Earth's victory spread across the stars, a spark of hope ignited in countless hearts. The Zoral, once thought invincible, had been defeated. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive and weak, had proven themselves to be formidable warriors and worthy allies. The battle for Sol marked a turning point in the galactic conflict. Humanity had not only defended their home but had also taken their first steps onto a much larger stage. The stars, once a source of fear and uncertainty, now beckoned with the promise of adventure, alliance, and a future where freedom reigned supreme. As the sun rose on a new day, Earth's inhabitants looked to the sky with a mixture of pride, determination, and wonder. The battle was won, but the war for the galaxy's future had only just begun. In the wake of humanity's unexpected victory against the Zoral, a new era dawned across the cosmos. The once mighty alien empire, shaken to its core, retreated to lick its wounds and reassess its strategies. Meanwhile, Earth and its colonies basked in the afterglow of their triumph, their spirits soaring with newfound confidence. Admiral Jenna Hawkins, the architect of humanity's defense, stood before the United Earth Council, her eyes gleaming with determination. "We've won a battle," she declared, "but the war is far from over. We must seize this moment to build alliances and strengthen our position in the galaxy." Her words sparked a flurry of diplomatic activity. Earth's ambassadors, led by the charismatic diplomat Rafael Morales, embarked on a whirlwind tour of nearby star systems. Their mission: to forge bonds with other species who had suffered under Zoral oppression. On the lush world of Arborea, Raphael's team met with the Chlorophyllians, a plant-based species known for their wisdom and longevity. The Arborians, impressed by humanity's resilience, offered their vast knowledge of cosmic botany and healing arts in exchange for protection against future Zoral incursions. Meanwhile, on the desert planet Cryos, human engineers worked alongside the silicon-based Cryosians to develop new energy technologies. The harsh environment of Cryos had forced its inhabitants to become masters of efficiency, and their innovations promised to revolutionize human spacecraft design. As these alliances blossomed, word spread across the galaxy. Species that had long cowered in fear of the Zoral began to look to Earth with hope. Humanity, once dismissed as primitive, was now seen as a beacon of resistance and ingenuity. Admiral Hawkins, recognizing the need for a unified front, proposed the formation of the Galactic Defense Coalition. This interstellar alliance would pool resources, share technology, and stand together against any threat to freedom in the cosmos. On the day the coalition charter was signed, representatives from a dozen species gathered on Earth's moon. As the document was sealed, a cheer erupted that seemed to echo across the solar system. The galaxy had changed, and humanity stood at the center of that change. But even as celebration rang out, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. The Zoral, though bloodied, were far from defeated. In the depths of space, their war council plotted revenge, determined to crush the upstart humans and their allies. As the first year of the coalition drew to a close, a distress signal reached Earth. The frontier colony of Nova Terra was under attack. The Zoral had returned, and they were not alone. They had forged an alliance of their own with other conquest-hungry species. Admiral Hawkins' face was grim as she addressed the coalition fleet. "This is the moment we've prepared for," she said, her voice steady. "We are no longer just defending Earth. We fight for every free world in this galaxy." As the coalition armada jumped to lightspeed, the next chapter of the cosmic conflict began to unfold. Humanity and its allies faced their greatest test yet, but they did so united, their resolve stronger than ever. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see if the underdogs of the galaxy could once again defy the odds and emerge victorious. The Zoral assault on Nova Terra was swift and merciless. The colony's defenses, though bolstered by recent upgrades, crumbled under the onslaught of the alien armada. As distress calls echoed across subspace, the coalition fleet raced against time to save their beleaguered allies. Admiral Jenna Hawkins stood on the bridge of the UCS Defiant, her flagship leading the charge. "All ships, prepare for emergency drop from hyperspace," she commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We hit them hard and fast. Every second counts." As the coalition fleet burst into real space, the scene that greeted them was one of chaos and destruction. Nova Terra's orbital platforms lay in ruins, and the planet's surface was scarred by orbital bombardment. But the colony wasn't defeated yet. Pockets of resistance still held out, their determination a testament to the human spirit. Captain Diego Ramirez, commanding the swift corvette Thunderbolt, led the first wave of the counterattack. "Wing leaders, form up on me," he called out. "We're punching a hole for the ground teams," the Thunderbolt and its squadron dove into the fray, their advanced shields barely holding against the Zoral onslaught. On the planet's surface, Marine Sergeant Anna Kovac and her team fought a desperate holding action. "Keep those civilians moving," she shouted over the din of battle, her rifle spitting fire at the advancing Zoral troops. "Reinforcements are coming. We just need to hold out a little longer." As the space battle raged, a daring plan was set in motion. Dr. Ilara Voss, a brilliant xenobiologist, had made a startling discovery. The Zoral's new allies, she explained to Admiral Hawkins via hologram, they're not here willingly. They're being controlled by some kind of neural parasite. If we can disrupt that control. Hawkins' eyes lit up with understanding. We could turn their own forces against them, she finished. Dr. Voss, you're a genius. How soon can you have a countermeasure ready? Give me an hour and a clear shot at their command ship, Voss replied, her fingers already flying over her console. The next hour was the longest of Hawkins' life. She watched as her fleet took heavy losses, buying time with blood and courage. But just when it seemed the tide was turning against them, Voss's voice crackled over the calm, "It's ready, Admiral. One shot, one chance." Hawkins didn't hesitate. "All ships, this is the Admiral. Converge fire on these coordinates. Give Dr. Voss the opening she needs." The coalition fleet moved as one, their combined firepower creating a brief gap in the Zoral defenses. The Thunderbolt, battered but unbroken, streaked through the opening. "Package away," Ramirez reported, his voice tense. "Let's hope this works." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, like a wave spreading across the battlefield, the Zoral's allies began to turn on their masters. Confusion reigned as ships fired on their own side, and ground troops threw down their weapons in horror at what they'd been forced to do. Seizing the moment, Hawkins ordered a full assault. "Push them back," she commanded. "Show them what happens when you underestimate humanity and its friends." The battle for Nova Terra raged for hours more, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. As the last Zoral ship fled the system, cheers erupted across the coalition fleet and on the planet below. In the aftermath, as the wounded were tended and the dead honored, Admiral Hawkins stood before the survivors of Nova Terra. "Today, we faced our greatest test," she said, her voice carrying across the war-torn landscape. "And we emerged stronger than ever. This victory belongs not just to humanity, but to every species that stands with us against tyranny." As rebuilding efforts began, news of the victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. More worlds, inspired by the coalition's stand at Nova Terra, reached out to join the alliance. The balance of power was shifting, and the Zoral Empire found itself facing a galaxy united against its tyranny. But even as celebration rang out across coalition space, Admiral Hawkins and her advisors knew the war was far from over. The Zoral would be back, and next time, they would be fighting for their very survival. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what the next chapter in this cosmic conflict would bring. The Zoral Empire, once the undisputed masters of the galaxy, now found itself besieged on all sides. The coalition's victory at Nova Terra had sparked a flame of rebellion that spread like wildfire across the stars. World after world rose up against their oppressors, emboldened by the example set by humanity and its allies. Admiral Jenna Hawkins stood before a holographic map of the galaxy, her eyes scanning the shifting lines of battle. "We've got them on the run," she said to her assembled staff, "but a cornered beast is the most dangerous. We need to end this, decisively." Intelligence reports had pinpointed the location of the Zoral homeworld, a heavily fortified planet deep in the heart of their remaining territory. It was there, Hawkins knew, that the final battle would be fought. As the coalition fleet gathered for the assault, an unexpected message arrived. It was from the Zoral Emperor himself, requesting a parley. Hawkins was suspicious, but she couldn't ignore the opportunity for a peaceful resolution. The meeting was set on a neutral world, a barren moon orbiting a gas giant. Hawkins, accompanied by a small security detail, came face to face with the Zoral leader. The alien towered over her, its multifaceted eyes glinting in the dim light. "You have fought well, human," the Emperor rumbled, its voice a mix of admiration and contempt. "But surely you must see the futility of this conflict. Join us, and together we can rule the galaxy." Hawkins stood her ground, unflinching. "We're not interested in ruling, Your Highness. We fight for freedom, for ourselves and for every species you've oppressed. It's not too late to end this peacefully." The Emperor's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Peace? There can be no peace while your kind spreads chaos through the cosmos. No, Admiral. This ends only one way." As Hawkins and her team returned to the fleet, she knew the die had been cast. "All ships, prepare for jump," she commanded. "We end this today." The battle for the Zoral homeworld was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The skies above the planet blazed with the fire of countless ships, while on the surface, coalition forces fought tooth and nail against desperate Zoral defenders. Captain Diego Ramirez led a daring assault on the planet's main defense grid. "We're almost through," he shouted over the comm as his ship, the Thunderbolt, weaved through a hail of enemy fire. "Just a few more seconds." On the ground, Sergeant Anna Kovac and her Marines pushed towards the Zoral capital, fighting for every inch of ground. "Keep moving," she urged her troops. "We didn't come this far to fail now." As the battle raged, Dr. Alara Voss worked feverishly in her lab aboard the flagship. She had discovered a weakness in Zoral biology, a way to incapacitate them without causing permanent harm. If she could perfect the formula in time, it could end the war without further bloodshed. Hours passed, and the tide of battle ebbed and flowed. The coalition forces, though outnumbered, fought with a determination that seemed to defy the odds. Slowly but surely, they pushed the Zoral back. Just when victory seemed within reach, the Zoral unveiled their final weapon, a massive cannon capable of destroying entire fleets with a single shot. As it powered up, targeting the heart of the coalition armada, Hawkins knew they had only one chance. "All ships, concentrate fire on these coordinates," she ordered, highlighting a specific point on the cannon. It was a 1-in-a-million shot, but it was all they had. As energy built up in the Zoral weapon, the coalition fleet unleashed everything they had. For a moment, it seemed as if time itself held its breath. Then, with a flash that outshone the system's sun, the cannon exploded. The blast rocked the Zoral defenses, creating an opening that the coalition forces surged through. Within hours, the capital fell, and the Zoral Emperor was brought before Admiral Hawkins in chains. As the dust settled on the battlefield, Hawkins addressed not just her troops, but the entire galaxy. "Today marks not just the end of a war," she said, her voice carrying across the stars, "but the beginning of a new era. An era of freedom, of cooperation between all species. We have proven that together, we can overcome any obstacle." In the years that followed, the galaxy underwent a transformation. The Zoral, stripped of their empire, began the long process of redemption. Other species, free from oppression, joined the coalition, turning it from a military alliance into a forum for interstellar cooperation and progress. And humanity, once a small, isolated species on the edge of the galaxy, found itself at the center of a new cosmic order. Not as conquerors or rulers, but as friends and allies to all who sought peace among the stars. As Admiral Hawkins looked out at the vast expanse of space from the observation deck of Earth's new starport, she couldn't help but smile. The future, once so uncertain, now shone as brightly as the stars themselves. The adventure, she knew, was only just beginning.